Welcome back to my channel, or if this is the first time you're watching, hi! I'm so sorry I haven't posted in a while. I've been mega busy with real life stuff. But that means that I have a huge backlog of video time lapses that I've done, so not much to say about them. So I had an idea. I enjoy writing. Specifically, I enjoy writing monologues. So I thought it would be a fun idea to gather some voice actors, male, female, young, old, everything in between, and write out these monologues to perform over my YouTube videos, which are, literally just time lapses at my diamond art. I thought this would be a fun project to start doing, a compilation of monologues on the occasional Monday. For now, all the monologues will be written by me, but I might expand that in the future. Once more, this is for fun. This is because I like doing silly little projects and because the actors who found my listing are flipping incredible. I put a lot of work into writing these, and I'm sure they put a lot of work into recording them, so I really hope you enjoy.
Dead things hang in the mist like a suffocating smog. The sky is a shriveled mess of clouds too close together, a gray, fish-scaled sky. The moon is a dot of light behind the ever-present clouds. The smell of rotting despair churning a feeling in my stomach. Paranoia twisting up my spine. Darkness running a long, brittle finger along my wrist. My spine itches. I want to crack open my skin and scratch the irksome bone. How long before my mind fails me? Before my irises crack like broken mirrors, shards of eyeglass spreading through my eyes, through my veins, polluting my body, my blood, with the insanity that has been awaiting me. I am coming. The poem came to me sometime in high school, under the teaching of one Mr. Pettis. He was friendly, personable, and he liked me, though he had a strong dislike for my writing. I never knew if it was the tone or the technique, but something about my work unsettled him. I can't blame him. My writing back then was dark, incomprehensible. Cold thoughts from some inner void pressed their way into the back of my mind, none stronger than the ones that became this poem. The darkness overcame me so completely, I could only watch in horror and awe as my fingers flew across the keyboard, like something else was pulling the strings. My mind, usually plagued by writer's block and a desperate need to impress, finally went still. It was like I disappeared, and something else took over. What I wrote was dark, expansive. I struggled to put the vision into words, but somehow the poem came through. It was the first thing my teacher ever liked. I was thrilled, not because I impressed him, but because the darkness had. I thought maybe I'd finally found the key. I spent many sleepless nights hoping I could summon that presence again, the one that moved through me like a storm. But it didn't return. Life got in the way. Breakups, school, shallow things that pulled me back into the world of the living. The abyss that once claimed me slipped away. For years, I forgot about the dead things. I wrote other stories, scripts, pieces that crumbled under their own weight. None of them had that same dreadful beauty. But my mind kept returning, yearning for the cold, unfeeling embrace that had once carried me. And then came the dreams. When I read the dead things again, I saw the madness clearly, and it was beautiful. I remembered things I never knew, felt them scratching at the edges of my sleep, tearing through the warm, safe barrier that once kept me sane. But I am no longer a child. I do not need protection from the dark. I welcome it. I wait for the day it drives me mad, when I can look at the dead things in the eye and say, I am in love with what you offer. I don't even need to know what that is. I already know it's wonderful and sorrowful.
They grow in places nobody cares about, Ditches, cracks in pavement, up against old wire fences, the ones leaning a little to the side, forgotten like everything else around them. Most people think they're weeds, but they're not. They're wildflowers. And there's a difference. Weeds are unwanted, but wildflowers don't ask for permission. They don't wait to be planted. They find a patch of dirt, some scraps of sunlight, and they make it work. They just start growing quietly. They don't care if you notice them, but they're not easy to get rid of once you do. And they're tiny, right? So small, it's easy to miss the first one, but you let just one slip through, one little bud, and suddenly, they're everywhere. They take over the whole garden. And I love that. I love that something so small, so overlooked can change everything. I love how stubborn they are, how they thrive in places people have given up on. That's why they matter to me. That's why I talk about them all the time. Because people are like that too. Some of us don't get manicured lawns and neat little garden beds. Some of us grow up in the places no one's looking, the places no one wants to admit are still there, but we grow anyway, don't we? And maybe we're quiet at first, but you let one of us slip through, and we're not so easy to ignore after that. That's what forget-me-nots do. They spread, they claim space, they refuse to disappear just because someone decided the garden didn't belong to them. That's why I love them so much. Why do you think they're called forget-me-nots? They won't be forgotten or ignored. I won't be ignored.
I know you never wanted to hear from me again, but somehow, somewhere, I need to say this, even if you never hear it. I'm almost hopeful you won't, because you don't deserve to spend a minute longer thinking about me. I'm broken. I know, you never said that, but then again, being that cruel just isn't in your nature. You probably didn't realize what you were telling me. You tried so hard to be honest, but you couldn't make it all the way to telling me the real truth. I guess, in the end, I was right as well. I am too broken for anyone to care about. Every time I show someone my heart, every time I think, maybe this person won't hate the real me, they always turn their back and cut ties completely. And for so long, I believed that I was just a mucky. But this time, I'm coming to grips with that nagging fear that's been at the back of my head. I really was too broken to care about. That was my greatest fear. Every time I show someone my scarred and mangled heart, they leave. And I thought maybe things would be different with you. I thought for once someone could care about me despite how damaged I am. But I was wrong. Because if someone as wonderful as you isn't willing to put up with me, why should anyone else? I'm not trying to be aggressive or start a fight. I'm not trying to manipulate you with my emotions either. I really, genuinely want you to forget me, to go on and live your life as happy as you can be. I'm sorry I'm saying any of this. I'm sorry you might hear it, but I couldn't let it go unsaid. And because you're the kindest person I know, I hope you just let it stand. So, please, if I get to say one last thing to you, it's only that you were the most amazing person I'd ever known. Because, for some reason I can't fathom, you still have faith that I'm not beyond repair. Thank you. And goodbye.